We now go to the gentlewoman from California, Ms. Kim.
Thank you, and Director Chopra, thank you for being with us today. From the inception, the way CFPB was designed disregarded longstanding checks and balances. Under our Constitution, no one agency or person shall have absolute power to do as they please. Even the president is accountable to Congress and to the power of the purse. And the CFPB should not be the exception to longstanding constitutional rules. I think we agree on that. And I do agree with the mission that consumers must be protected from bad actors. The CFPB, in the name of consumer protection, is being used to divert the public's attention from the real challenges faced by individuals and families. And the CFPB under your watch, Mr. Chopra, has not addressed the root causes of indebtedness, of poor economic conditions for millions of Americans. And in your testimony, you highlight that for the first time ever, credit card debt eclipsed $2 trillion last year since CFPB. And you also mentioned the cost of high interest rates for consumers, but unfortunately, you don't mention inflation once in your testimony. You know, you are a member of FSOC, and so you should have been privy to discussions on how fiscal expansionary measures fueled inflation. So if you recall, everyone in the Biden administration was stating that inflation is transitory, but when in fact we all know that it wasn't. So why did you fail to mention inflation in your testimony?
Certainly higher cost of goods. I think I specifically mentioned examples of it. I'm happy to look back at it. In the examples of higher vehicle prices, there's certainly issues with higher home prices. Of course, prices and the rate environment, we do see both as being drivers. The rate environment, I think, has also, as mentioned by one of your colleagues, dramatically increased the price of new mortgage origination. So they're both certainly something we think about, and decomposing it in consumer financial products.
Thank you. You know, since consumers had to pay more for goods and services as you pay, would you agree that inflation played a role in increasing indebtedness to Americans?
Well, so if you look at the amount of household debt relative to net worth, you know, we can share with you the trend lines, but I think it's not our job to really look at, you know, what exactly is happening with respect to each individual good. But we, of course, know that when there are higher prices, when there are higher rates, that is going to affect people, and certainly the Federal Reserve Board.
Thank you.
Is the one
I mentioned that because, you know, we had
policy.
a peak of 9.1% inflation in 2022, I think around June, and that was the highest rate in 40 years. So I just wanted to point that out. But I know in respect to the, I know Chairman McHenry mentioned this earlier, and I share with his concern because back in August last year, or this year, I led a letter with Chairman of the Financial Institutions Chairman, Andy Barr, and there were 17 of my colleagues that sent a letter voicing our concerns regarding the announcement of the informal dialogue between CFPB and the European Commission. And in that letter, we specifically asked the CFPB to brief this committee. So I want to ask you again, will you commit to briefing this committee? Because we want to ensure that the EU is not exporting their financial laws and regulations in the United States.
Well, certainly, let me be clear. We're not cutting and pasting anything from there. We're having a series of meetings, because many of the issues, particularly—
I just need your commitment, because we haven't gotten the briefing
we
that we
face
asked
some
for.
serious global threats when it comes to some of the issues, particularly from bad actors based in China and Russia. And I do think that we need some global cooperation on this. Yes, we will brief you, but we are having meetings with them.
And then we can have that further conversation.
We're having meetings with them because there's some
very serious issues. So let me reclaim my time, because I do want to put in another question regarding the CFPB's SOBRIFA outline. Because on that, FCRA proposal raised concerns about legal versus factual disputes, and there is considerable case law and supervision guidance around factual disputes because those questions can be determined by reinvestigation. So, the resolution of a legal dispute depends upon information that is generally not reported to a consumer reporting agency. So how could Credit Bureau make a determination on a legal matter?
Mr. Chairman, can I respond?
Gentlelady is out of time.
We'll answer for the record.
We can get that in writing, I'm sure. What we're going to do is, because there's an open roll call going on right now, we're going to go to Congressman Flood, and then we're going to recess. We have 4 more members, but it should be very quickly because there's only 2 votes, and then we will come back in and finish with those 4 members. So next, we'll recognize